Oh,
Recording in progress.
okay, you got it.
Here.
Oh, it's a little out of focus. Okay, so now we're gonna to go back to Gmail, and now we're gonna look for the wrong thing. Let's get out of that. Okay, we're gonna now look for slide deck. Um, okay, that was from Pam as well.
I'm thinking on Sunday.
It's not. No, it's someone else.
Oh, that's somebody else.
It's something else. Yeah. Let's, we have to find out what she called it. No. Okay, well, that's not it. So now. Just looking. Well,
One back there.
okay. Oh, which one did she do? Newsletter, project. Let's see if she has it here. Okay, she might not have received it, so let me forward it to Amanda. Okay. Pam. Who's our speaker?
For public services.
And did they give us slides yet? Often these slides.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Okay.
Well, they said it.
Okay.
Okay.
Got their PowerPoint, right?
I don't recall getting it.
Sorry?
I don't recall getting it.
I sent it, I forwarded it to
You
you.
did? Okay.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find it
Forward
again.
to me. No, if you forward it to me, I'm sure I have it. Okay, just forwarding everything to Amanda because we're using her machine. RecycleSmart presentation, there it is.
That's different than slides, right?
No, that's the slide, that's it. Well, that's different from our slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sending both emails. Don't worry.
Yeah, so he's right, that's not. Okay. Yeah. They must say that, yeah.
Okay.
There's no chance to be another law generation, whatever I have, I did out of our I was. What's this? Two times, so it's. Wait. No, we missed place for time.
Hey, Susan. I don't know where to put it, but I think I'll put it on her.
Down to it.
I'm gonna put, well, yeah, it gets put into downloads.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So we'll just open that up. So that's a download. And then okay, but now how to do this as a presentation? I might need to, let's see. Um, I'm gonna do a little differently. Come on. That's that. And then,
Just to think that way.
yeah, I'm just, okay. Okay, now I'm gonna delete this. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Which might make my still comes from. Today there was best on wait or something like that. Oh, yeah, yeah. And there's like here. Okay, yeah, I don't have clear.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's like.
Okay, now I'm gonna share.
Ah. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Anybody put. That's right. Really difference.
All parts.
Yeah, but I gotta, okay. See, thank you for bringing the hardware. I took care of the software. Okay.
He loves to go there. Love. I'm so.
Well, I knew this was a big mess.
Yeah.
There you go, have a big time. Cool. Well, yeah, sure. High school, what line is that? All of her. Gee, I'm sure. Amanda always like got a jacket or something, so she's a shopper, she's a shopper. You know, the red means so walk with you were 18 and one nothing there, I can look where it's the piece of art, clothes, or I don't just this. But and then it picks up and it's white, like that, and brown and. They're. No. They're. That's not pretty, they're all pretty. Yeah. They're the six star.
Okay. That's not doing it.
What are you trying to do?
I was gonna lower the taskbar so that it's out of the way, but
Oh, okay.
I don't think I'm gonna do that. Oh, there we go.
Well, I don't know what you did.
I think if I, anyway,
You hit the space bar to move it or down bar?
I don't know. Well, when it was down, I don't know what I did. I don't know how I moved.
You clicked on the screen. I don't know.
Okay. Well, okay. Okay, I think we're good. Let me get those up, Pete. And drink.
Oh, so for Pam, it's the up down arrows.
Right, right. The down and up arrow should do it.
Yeah, okay. But this thing is connected to.
No, the people on the screen will be hearing it from the computer.
Okay.
Oh, wait, oh no, you're right. I didn't do the right thing. Hold it. Thank you. Thank you for asking your question. Okay, so I need, let me stop this, go here. So Epson. Oh, that. Phil, would you unmute yourself and say something you want to?
She's moving.
Would you unmute yourself and we'll see if we can hear you? Are you in every club there? I'm in a lot. So can you say something?
Can't hear you.
Phil, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Phil, can you hear me? No. Okay. No thumbs up. Let me check. Let me do a test here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now let me test the microphone. Hi, Joe. Jen. So I'll show you what to do here.
Okay.
Okay, so well, we're gonna share. Okay, so we'll be showing that. Now if you hit, and I'll do this, but if I'm not here. So Alt tab and we go to your slide there. And then you just move it down. Okay. Whoops.
Alt tab.
Oh, where's the front part? There we go. Okay. And that's what you want to do. Sure. Okay.
He already showed me what to do, so if he's gonna do it, but if he's not, I know what to do. They already have a click, or we're not gonna click. We're gonna
Yes.
click.
Oh,
And just leaving it on.
But he just needs to put.
yeah, we're just,
Different
no,
slideshow.
well, the room has to hear it. So we have it so that.
Yeah.
That, when people. I think when people talk from here, they'll come through the house speakers. I'm just doing a test right now.
You're responding.
That's true. Okay, that's right. Okay. I know.
I've never coordinated it. I'm in this committee, coordinated with everybody. So thank you for being responsive and appreciate it. This is nice. Yeah, they yes, this came off to what I said us. Yeah, it's great to get in the. We don't usually get a ton of people, but
That's what they know by all of us.
okay, they have made.
Got it.
It's just, we're busy. I didn't agree that this paper. So, yeah, it's so. We may get land courthouse tonight, and then the whole point is, we're trying to make some of this easier, lighter, like.
Yeah. You could just click on
Like
it.
they just.
Oh, right. Click on the green.
church.
I just went to taskbar settings. It seemed to take it. Okay, I'm gonna get a little something to eat.
Stupid, we can't spring pass. I'm tired. We're not, but it's just interesting, because we just got, I said, kind of, it is different. Well. There's two meetings in one bank. Well, that may. You know, what do you have new days? Tomato festival. Yes. Like the recyclables of this, that, it's like, you know, I decided in church, cans and bottles, that's it, that's all that's going. Empty cans and bottles, that's all that's going in recycling, because it's just. Those there isn't, that's not, I had two items that help with debates about too, but. Yes, actually done it. Last part here. Oh, yeah. But, and I, just like in a bunch of people, so what do you do? It's like, yeah, so that's like, cause that has a certain. It's water. Well, gotta be clean, they won't be tried, but the clean, it's. You know, but, or anyway, so.
This is great. Thank you.
Hey, it's amazing. It's sort of this. Just. Slavery. They take it.
Us, we got RecycleSmart.
I like the color.
What's good? Well, at least you will know.
It has a yellow working.
I don't know, it's some random person. I know I bought paper towels and kind of recycling paper.
That might be like, yeah.
Sister's. So sort, I said, okay, so it's different than lottery thing, it's recycling, so it's here.
Right, gotta keep the, yeah, targets.
Keep the market going.
Yeah. There is a RecycleSmart Canada, maybe they saw that.
Oh, it's
It's a company, yeah. I don't know what they make or do, but yeah.
So I get the PowerPoint all set up,
It is set up, I saw the Barry got it set up, yes.
and so whoever's speaking here should click the PowerPoint, is that how it works?
We'll get Barry and he'll tell us how it's.
Social hours.
Yeah.
A tray of snacks or
Thank
a glass of wine or a glass of something.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you, you're really kind. Nice job using real glassware, I love that. Nice job using real glassware. Guess I should have glass wine.
Hi, honey, I'm just a member of the Trash Talk community so much.
Judith Silver, nice.
Yes, but well, I'm lucky because I got a cheat sheet.
I understand that.
Right. Right.
Well, but then not available.
So did you go on all the tours? You went to the compost facility and to the recycling facility?
Tyrion,
Huh?
how long have you lived here?
Awesome. Year and a half. So born and raised Berkeley.
Okay.
Left for 48 years. Lived in Texas for 40, because for years. But my only son, my only granddaughter lived here as a house, so. My sister lives in the city. But just a year and a half.
What do you think?
I love the fact that it's gated, so it's 50% safe. Like my neighbors, they're great. That's a great thing. As you're here, it takes about a year between the exercise classes and some committees, and I belong to a church right outside the gate. You start to see people and recognize people just in about a year.
Yeah.
I don't really I have a house in Lake Tahoe, I have the apartment too. I don't need their single family home.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I can plop myself down in Pleasant Hill and my son's neighborhood, be one of the only old people there, so what's the fun of that? And then have to go to the senior center. So in general, it's great. I mean, it's one of the better facilities.
It's very good.
And it's been really big. I want to do some stuff outside of Rossmoor, not everything being
Right.
in Rossmoor.
Well, it's a good location. You can get to a lot of places.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to the city tomorrow, my sister and I, and my brother and I are going to go see my fair lady.
Oh, fun.
And the only problem going to the city is parking.
Oh, you don't take the train, never take BART or
No, my sister lives in Marina. So that does.
off the grid.
And I have been on public transportation and unless I'm in New York City, like in 20 years. Navigate it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of ways.
You have to argue.
It's easier to try to get half of this.
Yes. But whatever you got, do you know where you got? My sister takes the bus downtown there.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm
Have to
going,
get used to it.
and then I have to go there, then I have to catch the.
Yeah,
bus.
the transferring is always easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were discussing.
Different cards, that makes it easier though.
It does, it does.
Well, that's a whole bunch of laws get. I was trying to change. So I was playing in the back, okay, don't show anything, don't.
Okay.
Which is why me and Nancy Lizzie work for free. And the best, there's a good job. Has to be, you got basic transit, used to be, but they're not getting the information.
Right out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the other stars and stuff. Yeah.
And what drew you to this group?
I get too much.
This group.
I never really seen. I remember the first day of the floor. Sustainable Rossmoor.
So one that I,
Hey, I lived in Texas for 40 years, then one year that Florida.
and it's actually,
Whatever. Trash talk, I was, my new tree lines, like, the stuff and recycling and whatever. And so that's how I really got into it. It's great. So, we can't really save the world. We can try to be more, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I would do. Everyone would just do their part. That'd be very helpful.
And then it's just, there's somebody's put the plastic plant container, with soft plastic in it, the plant on top of it.
Yeah. What's that thinking about?
So, I mean, that was easy. I took it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish more people would just think, look, if I recycle the basic stuff, I can remember, I could just be good with that.
Yeah, the big question is like,
Not going through to my, the list. Which I think they're consolidate, around just.
too much. Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
Better than that, it's okay.
That's unacceptable.
So so in my house in South Dakota, there's no composting. Because it's
An exception of
we do. Recycling was gonna be. So my house is now a short-term vacation home again. It was years ago. I've got to talk to my management company, how do we deal with the recycling? Because if people are in and out, nobody's putting the can out. So the management company, do they take the stuff?
Yeah, look at you now. It's not a plan.
Well, and then,
And to say, I want this, like this is a plan.
right. And then I know the cleaning people, like I have a recycled trash can. Well, the cleaning people always put that plastic bag in the recycled trash can. I'm going, so then and all my stuff says clean, dry. So I wrote it on the side of the, it's like, I can't. That's trying. Hey, I had one of y'all's great recycled bags. I took it up there. So we stole it. So I got another one every day. But yeah, it's an interesting, yeah, so that's next to my list. I'm gonna be short-term rentals for a while, so we're trying to get things like.
Yeah.
I have too many signs, I'm sure people read them, but, I have one about wearing, I have a dog, and it's like, I like a dog. I have a whatever. And before that, the boat capsized in Lake Tahoe, I'd already printed out a thing going, wear a life jacket. I thought it'd stay afloat, wear a life jacket. And I had just get an article for that out. I printed it out, I laminated it, and it is on the door. Just going out to the garage. And I was up there a couple of weeks ago, and there was one family on a boat that actually had life jackets. Fine. No, then it's sunny, but the news story.
Shocking to me. Like, didn't you guys, were you terrified by that or that whole thing?
My son has a small boat. He was up there first time at that boat. And he's going, it's like very essence, I'm not taking it, but it's too small. Even the guy at the arena said, what's gonna be busy at 11 o'clock this morning, this boat's too small to be good.
Things are tricky. That's nice to hear. Trying to show you first. They're it all through.
I'm gonna do about further what Jack said. I'm have people die here, so they're here.
I'm gonna it's like
But the one capsize says you can't get life jacket out of the.
yeah, it's kind of wet at that.
You're kind of stupid.
Yeah, just definitely have it on reinstay.
So my neighbors behind me, they've taken me out on there for a couple times and I have a life jacket on. They go, oh, I'm still working on it.
That's it. You can't pull out the Marie.
Because I didn't realize it only takes 10 minutes to get my hat on here. And I didn't realize that basically paralyzes you.
It paralyzes you. I felt it once. Did I have my check? I was lucky to survive. I mean, you're so cold. You cannot make good decisions. Your body immediately changes. You can't breathe. You can't think. You're freaking out.
And I think they say you have 30 minutes if you have life jacket. They
Walk on it.
a lot.
Yeah.
It might be 20, but that's still.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then I said, like a team. I said, so like, we're not spring chickens. You don't have any idea how your body's going to react.
Yeah. And that was not fun.
I was up there about 2 years ago. There's a pizza place and it has like a, the outside fire pits and everything. So husband and wife, I'm looking at it, we're not, they're kind of talking to somebody over here and she knows, they were from the Carolinas and they wanted to go California, in Alaska. So they thought they'd try coffee first because to see how cold the water was and everything. And I'm listening. So, okay, so there was some glacier they wanted to see that they can get to faster that morning. Then they could have paid like that. And I said, are you gonna have a guide? And she goes, no, my husband's gonna do it. But my son, territory's Alaska, idiot. And so you're gonna, wear a wetsuit. Well, I don't know. We hadn't really thought about it. I thought, okay, we're from, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
It's your
Right.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go call 911 right now. That's where you're headed.
Like, we're into adventure. And I'm going, okay, adventure is one thing, stupid is another.
Yeah, adventurous people need to be careful.
Stuff happens. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, well, maybe they paddleboarded and fell in the lake and maybe she was out of the client. Maybe going to Alaska wasn't a good, I don't think paddleboard in Alaska. It's been a while since I've been there. The ice fish, like the paddleboard, I'm like,
Yeah, that doesn't seem smart either. What are the brown bags over there?
One is compost,
Okay.
okay, and one is the plates she washes. So they're not paper plates, they're plastic, and I think they go in there when you're finished. We're trying to do a thing in Rossmoor. I mean, I did it once or twice where you bring your own, this is sort of snacks. Go to a dinner, bring your own plates, and then take them home.
Okay.
It's good.
I'm not in charge of this, so the man that is, it's a guy in the blue polo shirt.
I'm really good. It's so sharp and take. Same color, put it together. Right now, for this year, it's finished. So it's going to use. They said, my friend made this team, and it was her finest silver prince. They was freaking from them. Getting to be someone will be right here. I could take some of this. Never done. You did. How soon was that? So yeah, that's me. I guess we'll.
Yeah, we saved these places in the front for you guys. Hello, we're gonna get started.
We're gonna need our chairs.
Okay. We're gonna get started, so if you could please grab your food, grab your drinks, and have a seat. We might have standing room only tonight, so I think Carol's gonna see about getting more chairs if we need them. Okay. All right. Give everybody a couple minutes or a little bit of time to get seated.
Yeah, good people.
Huh?
Tuition people. Actually, I could do that from my.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know what, let me, I'm gonna turn off the waiting room. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign off. You go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna get started.
Now talk.
Barry,
Sorry.
how do I make the, hey Barry, how do I make the screen go down? My usual things aren't working. I tried that.
Right, sometimes you have to
Oh, okay.
click on it and then.
All right. Back one. Okay. All right.
Now it's over.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm Pam Chirizo. I'm Chair of Sustainable Rossmoor, and we're happy to have such a great turnout tonight. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, exactly. You can see tonight's agenda. We'll start off with committee reports, quick committee reports before we get into the presentation for tonight. So if the committee chairs who have presentations could come over and line up so we can get through them quickly, that would be great. Amanda is not here tonight, so.
Her computer is.
But her computer is. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. Oh, I had it and then I lost it.
That's the up and down button.
Okay,
Gives you that.
all right.
And we'll move this guy over
Yeah.
somewhere else.
You-
So. Let's put it over here, so.
Okay, so our bank balance as of October 1st was $5,971. We got $100 worth of memberships in. Spent 71 on operations. And I can't see how we end it because it's down below, but
It's okay.
anyhow, we've got a bank balance. Okay, Adrian, you're up. Up. Got to come around this way though.
Okay, so we, as of September 1, we have 167 members. Several people joined in August, actually, so that's really great. And as you can see, we've have 77 members who've been part of us since 2021 before. If you are here and are not a member, I urge you to join. You can do so by going to our website, clicking on the Join Us, and that will take you to a screen that will allow you to join. Or you can go down to Gateway and leave a check in our box or they can do it right here. Yes. Money is acceptable anywhere. And with that, back to Pat.
The legislative committee took last month off because the legislature did. But they're back from their summer recess now and they'll be working on bills, getting them passed into the governor before they adjourn on September 12th. The one thing we're concerned about is that the governor is expected to introduce legislation that would roll back California health and environmental protections to allow drilling of thousands of new oil and gas wells. It hasn't come out yet, but we're keeping a close eye out for that. And if you'd like to join the legislative committee, no experience necessary, just let me know. We can train you and we only meet once a month for just about an hour. Thank you. Carol.
So you can read. very easily what the next film is. It's not tomorrow, Wednesday, but it's the next week. Always the second Wednesday of every month. Sustainable Rossmoor has a film in Peacock. I could never go vegan the way that's stated. It's not exactly lighthearted, but it's they're trying to make some fun out of it, and that's actually the whole tone of the film. It's not preachy, it's not blaming, it's we looked for a while and we considered several other films on planet-friendly eating before we came up with this one. So I hope you enjoy it. And is the next one something I'm supposed to comment on too?
Think so. I,
Or am I off after that?
no, it's green finances.
Barry, you want to do?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. So this is not anything new, but since there's a lot of you people here tonight, it didn't pass. Well, everybody doesn't count, who. We have a new committee, working on green finance, and it's absolutely mind blowing how much more effect greening your finances than any other single thing to block climate change. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Particularly, I mean, switching your credit cards and switching your bank accounts can be, it's a process. It takes time. But and so does switching your investments. But switching your investments, wow, you can have a major impact. And you can read about that in an article coming up in the Rossmoor News, but more importantly, right here, when you go to our website, you'll see we have a new button for green finance. And that landing page will take you to a page for all these topics and guide you through the process if you're interested in learning more. So I invite you to do that.
Thank you. And I'm going tomorrow to the Bank of America to close out my accounts. So obviously you've had an impact on me.
Yay.
Okay, now it's not doing it again. Okay, this is you, Barry.
Well, we are. So green financing has a big impact, but so does turning people who are environmentalists but don't vote, turning them into habitual voters. And that since 2015, the Environmental Voter Project, which is what they do, has converted over 2 million people, and they do it in battleground states to vote for environmental interests. To help them in their work, they have an annual fundraiser. I'm on their committee or whatever, host committee. And so I'm offering a match to anybody who clicks on a link, which we'll be sending out to members here. So if you click on it and give the first $1,000 that people give, I will match that to help them in their efforts. And so that's just an indication of how effective I think their work has been. I guess that's all.
You have an addendum? Okay, Carol has an addendum.
Because she's forgetful and has senior moments. Two things. I wanted to thank you for those of you that added your name so that you're now having name cards. We don't have to do that, but it makes it nice when you're visiting with people, getting snacks and things. And please leave it in a big pile on a table on your way out. Please don't take them home. And the other thing I wanted to say is, if you come to the film, you have a chance to win one of 3 books. So we're going to be having tickets. We can't call it a lottery because that's illegal in Rossmoor. It's a drawing.
And so that's okay to use that word. Not my terminology. And so anyway, we'll have tickets within numbers and you'll be able to get one of the books. And we have the 3 books on the table on the back. So as you walk out, you might want to look at whether you'd want to, which book you're going to choose in case your name gets chosen. So.
Okay, Don?
I'm Don McGregor. I'm one of the founders of Friends of Tice Creek. Good evening. We are going to be having a meeting on September 16th. We will be meeting and discussing our plans for a creek cleanup early in October, and hope you can join us then. The time will be 1 in the afternoon. It'll be announced. We'll announce that. And we'll send out, so please send, we've on the next slide, don't change it yet though. We have an email address and please send for our newsletter invitation for meetings, announcement of meeting if you're not on the list already, please. This last Wednesday, the Rossmoor News, the August 27th issue had a front page article about Tice Creek. And this is, I thought, a very important article for bringing up the topic of the creek and the problems of the water. And I think one of the most interesting points about this is that the generous support of the Men's Golf Club for finding a solution. And I really recommend that you look at this article. It's important and really a fundamental issue here at Rossmoor. And I think a takeaway from it is that they are looking at this being a regional concern. And so this including, they mentioned East Bay mud as well as central sand and recycled water facility. But Friends of Tice Creek, of course, dedicated to taking a watershed view of Rossmoor as well as Tice Creek. And that means taking an environmental look. And we are looking at this as a way of really enhancing the wild nature of maintaining this with maintaining the creek. So we would like to encourage anyone who enjoys and is a good letter writer, a letter to the editor, to comment now that this issue has been brought up officially about the creek, that please write a letter to the editor and mention that it's important to look at the environmental concerns in the ongoing issues with dealing with the creek, even as we mentioned here, discussing property damage and property values. The creek is really an amenity for Rossmoor. It's a good part of the character, and this is an ongoing issue. And we just look forward that this issue has been made and announced as an issue in the community. And so Friends of Tice Creek would like to encourage everyone to be a good citizen and speak up about this, especially if you're concerned about keeping the wild character of the creek. And let's see, how do we get to the next one?
Your guess is as good as mine. There we go.
There we go. As I said, I'm Don, and this is the email address. And so we will send you out an invitation. Just contact that if you're not already on the list. And welcome to the meeting.
Dave, do you have anything else except thanking Margaret and Harvey for the snacks? Oh.
Volunteers for the next meeting. So if you'd be willing to bring some vegan snacks for the next meeting and we'll help you decide what it is, please talk to Pam or myself.
Thank you. Okay, Anne is going to introduce our speakers for tonight. I just ask that you hold all questions until the end, let them get all the way through their presentation, and then there will be questions at the end. Thank you.
See, I guess I'll do this one. Okay, we are very fortunate to have so many people from RecycleSmart here. And so I'm doing a little tiny little brief, not this long for each person. So I'm going to announce it, David Krueger first. I don't care how y'all line up. He is the executive director of the Central Contra Costa Solid Waste Authority. He's been the executive director of RecycleSmart since January 2023. And RecycleSmart contracts for solid waste and recycling services on behalf of its member agencies and a lot of other things. Okay, Ashley, Louisiana. Okay, Ashley has been with RecycleSmart for almost 20 years and creating helpful resources and tools for residents and businesses and developing new programs and initiatives to help move the dial towards increased waste prevention, recycling, and composting. Okay, and then we have Judith Silver. Judith is a senior program manager at RecycleSmart. She has been with the agency for 5 years. She is responsible for SB 1383 implementation and compliance, other things. And Jen Faught. Jen has been at RecycleSmart for 7 years, working on projects such as contract compliance and management, legislative tracking and regulatory compliance, school program oversights, and community events such as the rewarding repair cafes. So thank you, and I'm going to let you guys do your thing.
All right. Well, thank you, Ann, and thank you all for the warm welcome and for having us here tonight. RecycleSmart is the short way to say the Central Contra Costa Solid Waste Authority. I always feel embarrassed saying RecycleSmart. Sounds like we're bragging or something. I didn't come up with the name. It's much easier than Central Contra Costa Solid Waste Authority. So we've divided up our presentation today, and I thought I was going to introduce us all, but Ann already did that. So I think I'm going to turn it over to our first speaker, Jen Faught.
All right, thank you. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Oh, no. Oh, no. Got it. Okay, super. Thanks, everybody. We're really happy to be here tonight. I think we're sort of working on like a little corner of sustainability that you're probably all familiar with, but not as familiar as we are because we do it full time. So possibly. Our mission statement, which our board recently refined just a couple of years ago, is that RecycleSmart provides efficient, high-quality waste prevention, reuse, recycling, composting, collection, processing, and education programs in our Central Contra Costa County communities. Our core functions are really to manage all the materials and the waste stream for our Central County members. We do program design and implementation. We manage the contracts with our waste haulers and processors. So like we're public services, we hire them. We don't have our own trucks, but we hire them and oversee what they do. We do a lot of publication and public education and outreach, and we also have to comply with a variety of laws and regulations. Our 6 member agencies are listed here. We are a joint powers authority, so we're a separate legal local government entity. It's actually separate from those cities that they created it. And we sort of are like the solid waste department in a way for those cities. We are not the county. Sometimes people get us confused with the county itself or a department of the county, but we're a separate local government agency. This is a map of our service area. It has been the same for many years, except in 2027, we're going to be on the community of Canyon to our service area. But you can see we have a lot of unincorporated county area. So they're a big part of what we do in all of our cities. Here's some stats about RecycleSmart. We serve about 230,000 residents. We have 6 employees, so you've got 2/3 of us here tonight. We have 6 member agencies, and each of our member agencies has 2 board members that sit on our board. So we have a 12-member board. The Walnut Creek board members are, anybody know? Who are Walnut Creek board members? Yes.
Cindy Silva.
Yep. Cindy Silva and Matt Hanson. Good job. And as you can see from those stats that we're mostly a single family home area, mostly sort of suburban, but we do have a fair number of multifamily and commercial properties as well. We would include this so that you can learn some of the jargon, if you don't already know it, that we use every day in our field. Diversion. Anybody know what diversion is? Diversion. It's like when you divert, David always describes it this way, when you divert a rushing stream of water, which is our waste stream, away from the landfill. So we want to get those things away from the to reuse or recycling or compost. We want to divert things. So we call that diversion. Anybody know what a MRF is, or have you been to a MRF?
Oh, yes.
We call it a MRF. It's a materials recovery facility. That's where your recyclables go over processing lines and people and machines, pull them out and put them into bales so that they can be sold to other processors. We put organics card in here because some people get confused with what organics are. We use it all the time. It's organics. Put the organics in your green cart or in your organics cart. But when we say organics cart, we mean the green cart. So everything that was living and also food, soil, paper, and napkins can go into the organics cart. Contamination is anything that's put in the wrong cart. So that's contamination. We call it contamination. CalRecycle is the state agency that we have to answer to. That's the California Department of Resources, Recycling and Recovery. So they're known as CalRecycle for short. And then extended producer responsibility is sometimes called product stewardship. So that's a structure that tries to put responsibility for the end of life for materials on the producers of the materials instead of the local governments who traditionally have had to bear the costs of managing all those materials. So that's a movement that's taking off all around the country and including in California to help all kinds of things. One is to get things designed better at the initial stage so that they can be more easily recycled or disposed of at the end of their life. And RFP is something that we did recently, which David will explain to you. Request for proposals. In our case, it was for all of our franchised services, the collection of the garbage, processing of the streams. And the franchise agreement, of course, is an exclusive contract. And again, in this case, it has to do with materials management and solid waste. And David is going to talk to you more about our franchise agreements.
All right. As Jen said, franchise agreements are what we call our contracts. Again, there's only 6 of us. We don't have any trucks, so we contract with companies to do the real work. And we have 2 main franchise agreements right now. One is with Republic Services that you're all very familiar with. You see their carts and their trucks in your community. So they collect everything for us. They also run the facility that composts the organics, and they own the landfill where the garbage is buried. And the other thing they do is they work in partnership with us on outreach. And they have 5 employees. We used to call them recycling coordinators. I think now they're sustainability advisors. They found you get more people apply for the job if you call it sustainability advisor than recycling coordinator. As you know, sustainability is bigger than recycling. But and they're dedicated to providing outreach in our area, mostly in-person outreach to multifamily and businesses. And you guys might know Santina, who works with you guys here. And they also do all the customer service and billing. Their other main contract that we have is with a company called Mount Diablo Resource Recovery, and they're the ones that run the MRF that Jim was just describing. It's a place where they take all those recyclables that you mix together in the blue containers and they unmix them and bale them into commodities for sale. They also run our reuse day program. It's something we don't have yet here in Rossmoor that we hope to have. It's a day where you put reusable stuff on the curb and in MDR, make sure it goes to folks who need it. And also we have a battery drop-off program where we have battery buckets in local retail stores, and MDR picks those up for us and makes sure that they get recycled. So where does it all go? Everyone wants to know. And it sounds like some of you have taken some tours to see where it goes. All right, a lot of you. It's great. So of course, recyclables are processed at MDR's facility in Pittsburgh. And then most of that stuff is sent abroad to manufacturing facilities through the Port of Oakland. And some materials are recycled within the United States and some even in the state. Anybody know where a big industry that might recycle a lot of glass? Can anybody imagine who might do that? What industry? Wine. Most of our glass that gets recycled in California winds up going to the Gallo company to make wine bottles. So, no. The reusable items from that reuse day, there's a warehouse that MDR had in Pittsburgh. That's where that goes. And then we have a special program for restaurants and for other businesses that produce a lot of food. And we pick up the food separately and we take it to East Bay Mud, and they have one of those big digesters at their wastewater plant. So our food scraps from those restaurants gets made into electricity and soil amendment there. And some of you have been out to Republic's Forward Compost Facility in Manteca. You've seen the big compost piles. That's where that goes. And then the landfill is in Pittsburgh, outside of Pittsburgh. It's called the Keller Canyon Landfill. It's where they bury the garbage. So for those of you who are visual, we had a map of where it goes. I'm going to try to use the pointer here. So we talked about the organics going all the way to Manteca. So that's over by Stockton, basically. Yep. But the problem is no one really wants to have a compost facility in their town. And most of these compost facilities that the Bay Area stuff goes to are in the Central Valley. One, it's not near anybody's town, but also it's closer to the farmers who use the compost. So that's the other reason it's done out there. East Bay Mud is here in Oakland. That's where those food scraps go to make energy. And then the landfill is here in Pittsburgh. So you know, some of these places are kind of far away. And so we use another kind of facility called a transfer station to get it there. Our transfer station is in Martinez. So the trucks that pick it up here are smaller trucks. They drop it off at the transfer station. It gets scooped up and loaded into bigger trucks so you can have a more efficient transportation to Manteca or Oakland, that type of thing. And we have a similar facility in Concord for our recyclables where they get put into bigger trucks to go to Pittsburgh to get sorted. So that we just talked about the current contracts we have and the current facilities, but it's all going to change in 2027. So our current contracts that we have, they don't last forever, are going to expire in March of 2027. And the current contract started in March of 2015. You usually do, for at least for collection, you do about 10 years on a contract. That's how long it takes a company to pay off a fleet of trucks. And we ask them to buy new trucks every time. So it takes them about 10 years to pay that off. Now, we knew it was coming to an end. We were trying to figure out what to do. We didn't have to do any kind of a competitive process. We could have just negotiated with MDR and Republic and extended it. But we decided to do a competitive RFP process for a couple of reasons. One, as you have noticed or recalled, there was a period of time where Republic had a really bad time picking up the garbage on time. And we didn't want to just sole source unless they got that fixed. And I think they have really improved it since then. And I think part of the reason is we threatened to give God's a hit and, change the contract. The other reason we went out to bid is that throughout this whole franchise, Republic has been telling us they're not making enough to cover their costs. And they were saying that when this contract is over and we have to get a market rate again, it's going to go up a lot. And we didn't want to just negotiate with them if that was their stance. We wanted to test that theory, go out to bid, get some competitive prices, and hopefully keep the rate increase as small as we could in the new contract. There's another reason we went out to bid, and that's because there used to be a state requirement that all the garbage trucks were going to have to be zero emissions during the term of this next contract. And again, we didn't want to just sole source that with somebody. We wanted to get competitive pricing from different companies, how much they would charge us to do that. So those are the reasons we went out to bid. And when you go out to bid with a big process like this, it takes 1 or 2 years. And even after you're done with it, it's going to take the company who gets the collection contract about 18 months to get all those trucks. Especially now there have been first there were supply chain issues, now tariffs, things are slowing it down. So it seems crazy, but we did this now for 2027 because it takes that long to get all that done. So in May of 2024, we decided to do as a two-step process. First, we would do an RFP for the facilities, all those facilities I just talked about, and then we do it for collection. And we decided to divide it into two things for one reason. We were hoping to get more competition for collection. Because if we told you that in order to bid on collecting, you also had to bring a landfill, well, there's only one company that can bring a landfill. So we wanted to make sure they had some competition. So this is our timeline for the RFP. We did facilities first, as I said, issued our RFP in March of 2024. We did get competition. We got proposals from 5 different companies. And then we awarded contracts for the facilities in October of 2024. And once we awarded those, then we could tell the people bidding on collection where they're going to take it. It's kind of important. So we did that. We had our collection RFP, and we did, you'll be happy to know, because of kind of the unique circumstances of Rossmoor, we had a whole section of RFP just about Rossmoor, and we had your staff review it, make sure it was right. And we got all these Rossmoor maps. Terms like entry, we had to teach them, and mutual, all these terms we had to explain in RFP. You guys are special in there. And I was hoping for more. At one point, when we were asking people to submit questions, we had 5 companies interested, but it wound up with 2 proposals. And same 2 guys we just talked about. It's Republic that does the current collection, and then Mount Diablo, or there are 2 bidders. And Republic had the best proposal. We'll go into a little bit about that later. But so we awarded to them in July, and they've already ordered their trucks. So they've ordered the new trucks. There's one last piece, that reuse program I talked about. Mount Diablo Recycling is doing that one, and they're doing a really good job. And we didn't want to risk messing it up by putting it out to bid and having someone win it who didn't know how to do it, because it's kind of special. So we're just going to sole source that with them, and we're currently in negotiations with them about that. And this is all for services that are going to start March 1st, 2027. So this kind of shows, we, again, chunked it up in all these different contracts, and it kind of shows who the current contractor is and who the new one's going to be. And I'll just emphasize kind of the big changes that are happening. Currently, the transfer station, where they take the stuff out of the little trucks and put it in the big trucks, currently it's with Republic and Martinez. In the new contract, it's going to be Mount Diablo Recycling in Pittsburgh at their facility. And then for composting, we have a brand new company kind of entering our world here. It's Recology. You might know them. They're the big hauler in San Francisco. And so we're going to go to their composting facility in Vernalis, another Central Valley location. And when you map it all out, it's 1 mile further than the Manteca facility. So it's also in the Central Valley. So those are the big changes for us. And it's also just a change separating everything like this. And one of the reasons we separated is we put different end dates on all these contracts. So we'll never have a big RFP like this again, and it'll be smaller ones as the different contracts come up. And in general, you want your collection contract to be short, because it only takes 10 years to pay off the trucks. Plus, if there are problems, you want the opportunity to change them out. But things like a landfill, no one's going to build a new landfill, so we want that contract as long as we can get it and just lock it in, get a good rate and lock it in. You might say, well, why did we pick Republic? Why was their proposal better than Mount Diablo's? Well, it was a lot cheaper. It was 14% less than Mount Diablo's, and in dollars, it was like 10 million a year less, so 100 million a year over the 10-year contract. So that was the main reason. And we probably still would have considered paying more for good service if service was still as poor as it was a couple of years ago. But Republic did really turn things around in the last couple of years. In fact, between 2023 and 2024, their missed pickups went down by 90%. So they really had a big improvement on that. We also made sure in this contract that there are things in place to make sure that they will still be picking up everything on time. They're going to have more trucks, more spare trucks, more drivers, more relief drivers, and smaller routes, just to make sure they can always pick up on time. And if they don't, we built in some bigger penalties for them. We've increased the customer credits. Customers get a credit on their bill if the waste or recycling isn't picked up on time. And it was $5 per miss per day, and now it's going to be $10 per miss per day in the new contract. So they have a big incentive to get it right. And also it used to be they could wait till Monday if they missed you on Friday, and now we're saying, no, the Friday people, you should pick them up on Saturday if you miss on Friday. So some changes we're making. There are some new services with this new contract, some of which will affect Rossmoor. We're going to have a requirement that for multifamily dwellings, when you have a trash enclosure, you have to have all 3 types of containers in every enclosure. You don't want people have to walk to another enclosure to just do their recycling. You guys are really good about that. You guys have done that, I think, universally.
Hi. Okay, so this is all sort of what's happening in the future or how we do the collection. And I think a lot about sort of backcasting and things that we've done. So how much trash was collected. All of our facilities that David was describing to you tell the state how many tons of recycling, how many tons of organics, how many tons of landfill were collected. They get attributed to our agency, and that comes in 2024. They divide the total tons, which is about 104,000 tons. Not too bad. Was about 3.3 pounds per person per day. And there's a little math that goes on, and we get a diversion equivalent, and that was about 65%. So since our new franchise, or since the franchise started in 2015, we've been around 62, 63, 64, 65%. Not bad. We're pretty good in terms of the state. Certainly would like to be higher, but that's pretty good. So how does this? There we go. Thank you. The other thing we spend a lot of time thinking about is how laws happen and the laws that govern how we do what we do. And that happens at many different levels. It happens at the state level. I want to talk more specifically about some of the state laws in the next slide. But they also happen kind of at the agency level. So we have a solid waste ordinance, and we have the right to enforce actions on people, on generators, as we call them, so businesses and individuals. And then also certain things happen at the member agency level. So it happens kind of at all 3 different levels, mostly at the city level, like the city of Walnut Creek has a polystyrene ban. Other cities and towns have single-use plastic bag bans, things like that. And then at our level, as I was saying, we also have our own laws, and then California has been super busy. So we have a lot of laws that we have to deal with every year. Jen does a really excellent job of tracking that, and we also provide comments to the state when to support or to say we don't want a certain law. So one of the biggest laws that we deal with, if you have ever heard of SB 1383, that is the law that sort of guides my world and our world as an agency. And this is basically saying we don't want organics in the landfill anymore. And so why would that be? As you can see that how much of the waste is made up of organics, and we can do better. There's ways we can put that either at our compost facility, or we can do backyard composting, or we can take it to East Bay Mud, but we don't want it in the landfill. And it's so much of our waste, of our composition of our landfill is made up of things that don't need to be in there. So we're trying really hard to help that statewide goal of 75% diversion of organics from landfill. So we're trying to do our very first. One really fun or new component of our work is to help collect edible food for donation. So rather than that food being composted at all, we want to get that to the people that could use it for consumption. And why is that all important? Besides just it's a waste of a resource. We all know that organics in the landfill is a powerful methane producer. We want to make sure that we can do anything we can to stop that. So the state of California is really kind of leading the country and in many ways leading the world in this effort. So it's really very exciting to be living in California and be on the forefront of all of that. So the law is very prescriptive, SB 1383. It really has a lot of things. It tells us what to do. And on behalf of the member agencies, we're able to sort of meet many of these obligations. And there are so many, even where to start, but there's obligations for outreach and education. There's one there for procurement, which means that individual jurisdictions need to actually purchase compost to try and help drive demand for organic material and create more of an infrastructure for that. We have a lot of reporting and enforcement. That's something that I have to really embrace. I definitely got into this more as a labor of love, and now it's really become more of like an obligation to people. So that's a change in how we're thinking about that. But I think the state realized that we had kind of got as far as we could go, and we needed to keep going. So how are we going to do that? And so it's become a little bit more of a regulatory obligation. So one of the aspects of 1383 is to do annual route audits. We have 69 routes in our jurisdiction, in our service area for residents and for businesses, and we look in the carts and the bins and see who's doing well with their recycling or organics and who's not. So this is a list of the types of contaminants that we're seeing. I think we see in the landfill that there are a lot of food scraps, and we know we don't want those in there. So we have some opportunity to do better. We see that there are a lot of, while we allow black or white bags for recycling, when that gets to the material recovery facility, they don't know what's in there. And so anything that's bagged in a bag they can't see through, they just treat it as trash. So we are seeing a lot of great recycling, but it's not all getting recycled. So there's a lot we can do to make that, we can make people aware. And certainly we don't want to see any plastic in our organics or aluminum cans in our organics. So these are just all opportunities for us, and it helps to guide our outreach and education. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ashley to talk about more stuff.
Okay. We wanted to mention SB 54. I'm not sure if anyone has heard about this somewhat recent law. Thank you. Tall. Perfect. Thank you. California passed this law in 2022. It's still in the rulemaking process, so CalRecycle is working with stakeholders, the state, to try to kind of set the procedures in place. This is the Plastic Pollution and Packaging Prevention Producer Responsibility Law. Right, it's pretty significant. It requires that by 2032, hopefully all of our single-use packaging will be reusable, recyclable, or compostable, or it can't be sold in the state, hopefully. A big piece of it, the producers or the manufacturers have to set up a fund. It's $500 million a year for 10 years to pay for the pollution that occurs from all of this plastic in our lives. It would go to underserved communities, so maybe not Walnut Creek, but it's still amazing. And then hopefully it establishes a list, right? Everything will need to be reusable, recyclable, or compostable. So no matter where you live or work, the list should be somewhat consistent. So that'll be really amazing for outreach. And if you work in the city and live here, it might be somewhat the same. So we'll see. I know Gavin vetoed the first pass at these procedures. It's a big change. It's a lot of money. So lobbyists are involved and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. As Judith mentioned with SB 1383, we have to make sure that edible food is going to people who need that food, to eat that food instead of even composting. So we've had to do a lot of work to kind of understand what's happening in the county. I'm sure you've heard of Muffin People or White Pony Express or the Food Bank or Contra Costa Fruit Rescue. All amazing, really local organizations who are collecting food from restaurants, your backyards, grocery stores. Hopefully, we're here to kind of connect them with our residents, connect them with our restaurants to help facilitate that even more than what they're doing now. So if you guys have a chance, please volunteer. Look at their websites, check them out. They all are looking for volunteers. And we did receive a grant from the state to help White Pony Express. They have a really amazing app where you can just pick up food on your own time in your own vehicle. So if it's really small donations from a local restaurant, they don't have to use, their staff and their refrigerated trucks to pick up something small that might then have to go in the compost. So we can all maybe help out and do our part. And then we have some pretty great programs for multifamily complexes. We have those 5 sustainability advisors. We mentioned Santina. We're pretty lucky to have that. A lot of cities don't have 5 people. So take advantage. They do a lot of technical assistance, which is in-person work. So if you ever need help, you can call her out. She'll come here. I'm sure she has a bunch of times, but take advantage of the free technical assistance. We have posters, service guides. Like David mentioned, we have our commercial food waste that goes to East Bay Mud for anaerobic digestion, which is pretty special. You can get the recycling tote bags. Hopefully you guys have those reusable tote bags to take all your recyclables out, food scrap pails, move in, move out guides, holiday tree collection, enclosure signage, all of that. And I want to make sure that you guys reach out if there's any tools you feel like you need, we can help facilitate that. So reach out if you feel like something would be really helpful. And then same for businesses. We try to work really hard. They generate a lot of waste. Technical assistance, one of our newest programs, we're trying to work with them to transition from single-use disposable items to reusable packaging and foodware. So if you know of any restaurants that you frequent that use, they still use single-use forks or straws or whatnot, or even plates or anything, we have the funds right now to help them make that transition. We do waste audits, again, enclosure signage. We give them startup bins if they need it. So the indoor slim gyms or recycling bins, we help them purchase those. And then, of course, connecting a lot of our restaurants to donate their food. We have a schools program. So we have about 66 public schools. All the same stuff. These schools need a lot of technical assistance. So we have a team of contractors that go out, help all of our schools with assemblies. We have funding again for reusables right now. If you get over 75% diversion, you win a Wastebusters Award, which is money. So that can help go back into the school. Internship programs, student scholarships. Just need consistent help at our schools. And hopefully we instill some lessons in those young kids that will follow them throughout their life. This might look familiar. We have a Sharps collection program. I think you guys have one here in your Gateway Club Center. So RecycleSmart has always paid for that bin. It was a partnership with Central San about 10, 15 years ago. They paid for the medication bin. We paid for the Sharps bin to make sure that those materials weren't going into the trash or into the wastewater stream. The state has passed an EPR bill. So again, extended producer responsibility. So hopefully those manufacturers are paying for those products to be disposed of. So there is now for Sharps, the state has a free mailback box. If you need that, instead of going to this box, you can go to our website and request a free mailback Sharps box. Hopefully those start getting used so that ratepayers aren't. There's an EPR program, so hopefully, we won't be paying for these programs eventually. Hopefully the producers will. So request those boxes, and then Central San has also transitioned to a lot of the state boxes. They might be at CVS. I don't know if you guys have a med box here, but probably at CVS too. You do. Okay, so he's transitioned over to the state program because now they pay for all that. And then we're really excited to kind of dip our toes more into waste prevention and, stop the waste before it's even generated. We've worked with Pam at Rossmoor and Jen here and started up our repair cafes, which have been really successful. 2 in Rossmoor, 1 with the Walnut Creek, and we're about to do 1 with the city of Lafayette. We've fixed almost a couple hundred appliances or items. Pam has a really amazing list of volunteers, such a great resource, and we're so thankful that she's helped with that. And so trying to really expand those. They've been really successful. Again, school reusables to switch out the single-use packaging, and then the commercial switch out all that restaurant foodware packaging. We do a lot of outreach and education. So we work with Republic Services to design the signs that you might have seen on the sides of their trucks. We do those. We just had our first student art contest, so you might see some art this year. We have 2 winners. We do the annual lid flips, so we leave the oops and good job tags on your carts. We have composting workshops, service guides. Right now we have a community grant that's available. So I know Rossmoor has the community garden, or even Sustainable Rossmoor could apply. We do it every 2 years. It's $3,000. So that's up until the end of September. So if you go to our website, you'll see the link there, recyclesmart.org. So it's such a simple application, and your project just has to be something around recycling, composting, reducing waste. So I encourage Sustainable Rossmoor to apply. And then we're out at your community events. We've done Earth Day when you guys have had booths out here. We're happy to do it again. We do several events for each of those cities in partnership with Republic Services. We've tried to kind of go paper-free the last couple of years, and then we pay for clear streams that events can use. We pay for those, and then a couple of events in each city can have the waste stream monitors at their events to help people sort what goes where when they walk up to the stations. So take advantage of those free clear streams. And then we just wanted to kind of end with, there's plastic production just goes up and up is the general message. And the one thing that I guess we can all do is just say no. We can always think about our purchasing. You guys all have your reusable water bottles. We just went to the Creekside Grill and Jen brought all of our containers, our reusable to-go containers, to make sure we didn't take one at the restaurant. Your grocery bags, you know, we can all do that one step. That's it.
Okay, that was great. Thank you so much. We learned a lot from that. But I'm sure there are questions. I know you think you covered it all, but I know there are questions and I see them all right here. So hold on, I'll bring the microphone around. And when you're asking, say who you're asking, was it, did you know?
I'm not exactly sure, but the one who was giving the statistics about diversion. So that was obviously that 65% diversion was for the whole, your whole district. Do you have any idea what the diversion rate is within Rossmoor?
You, we're going to like attach this. Okay.
Good question. I know what Walnut Creek is. I don't know it off the top of my head. We really do try and think of our entire service area as one, but I don't think I can give you a Rossmoor only number. I would like a Walnut Creek number of that I could provide you. Because I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can get that.
We could estimate one on service volume.
We can estimate it, but it's something that we track, or keep track of. So, yes, David, if you'd like me to keep track of that,
I don't know who to direct their question to, perhaps Davidson. When I first moved here about a year and 10 months ago, we had issues around getting rid of compact fluorescent bulbs or the longer type, maybe 4 footers, and Rossmoor doesn't, at least at that time, didn't currently have any way to connect with recycling on the county level to drop those off here in Rossmoor at the recycle yard. And it seems to me, if it's still the condition, it's a really important issue because of the mercury content of those bulbs. And if people are throwing them into the landfill, there's 9,000 plus people living here. And, a lot of these homes have not changed hands for some time. So there's going to be older bulbs and things like that. So I don't know, maybe someone could speak to if that's still the condition, which I no longer needed to recycle those, so I haven't been looking into it. But it seems like something that really is kind of urgent to address.
Yeah, no, we hear that feedback. Thank you. It's still a condition. The Central Contra Costa Sanitary District is going to be our closest place to take all HHW for free. Does Rossmoor pay for their own?
No, Ace Hardware.
That's what I was gonna say next. Yeah, and call your local hardware store. It's hit or miss. So I never like to say like, go there. So call your local hardware store for sure.
Yeah, part of the problem that I experienced is that in my little area of about 81 residents, some of them are under care.
Yeah,
So their caregivers going to the recycle. None of those people who, there's a percentage of people who don't have cars. They're driving around in golf carts. So they're not going to go to East Hart. So I guess my real question is, can we make it a priority to link with the recycle in Rossmoor to start a recycle program for fluorescents? Because if we don't, we're just ignoring something that's right in our.
we've considered it. Yeah,
I can't promise, but I'll say that we've had some initial conversations with Central Sand that runs our hazardous waste drop off about doing some kind of curbside or pickup program here in Rossmoor. This is the reason you said, is folks that can't drive it to the drop off or to the Ace Hardware. Nothing yet, but we've started the conversation with them about maybe how to do that. I think you guys had a similar program previous.
Yes.
Did earlier. So we might, yeah.
Yeah, we used to be able to have picked up, but then the state prevented us from doing that. So, and some people do it on their own, they collect it
and they take it to the hazardous waste facility, but we're not supposed to really do that.
We're gonna work with, no promises, nothing for sure, but we're looking at it with Central San about maybe having the official state license people come and pick up the stuff and take it there. My previous job, I was in City of San Ramon, and we set up a curbside for the whole city like that. It's not cheap, makes your rates go up a little bit, but I think it's really important. There's not a lot of hazardous waste, but it's the important step to make sure it goes to the right place. And on the fluorescence, one thing to add is in the future, it's not gonna be an issue, because the best thing now is the LED bulbs, and so if those take over for the fluorescence, they're just sufficient or more efficient as the fluorescent bulbs, but they're not hazardous, so long term, that'll be, they don't have to throw out this fluorescent. But long term, that'll be the solution.
We've got Ellen and then Susan and then Jan.
Concerning the issue that someone mentioned about caregivers, is there any way to start a program to explain to them how the recyclables work? A lot of them have no idea what goes where, and they just throw it out, or they throw it in the wrong place. So that's one.
So that's a good idea. We could partner with you on that and partner with Republic Santina, maybe you could do a training for them.
The other question is, single-use plastic bags are banned.
That's correct. Yes.
So how come so many places that sell fruit and vegetable still put them in single-use plastic bags? I think it's 20%.
And you know the details of the
No.
bags in it?
Stores down to Boston.
The law only applies to checkout, not.
And so the carryout is January 1, 2026.
Yeah, it's getting, there was a bill that was passed to fix that loophole. And
January 1, 2026. So
Okay,
carryout. That's the carryout. So we will only be able to have reusable or paper. But it's January 1st.
and that got rid of the big plastic ones too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That was the other loophole, is they had these thick plastic ones that went through, but they said they were usable, and that was kind of a scam, and now that's going away too, so. Thanks to the state legislature, but it hasn't kicked in yet.
Our state legislator, Krueger, they have sponsored that.
I'm sure your legislative committee was all over it, right?
Yes, we were.
Hi. I pay attention to a lot of stuff around plastic waste, and including I follow Beyond Plastics. Some of you probably do as well. So you probably hear all the time that in fact, a very, very tiny percent of our single-use plastics actually do get recycled. And I've been trying through a variety of efforts to find out where ours go. And I have not been successful. And I would love to hear from you, what's the current state and what's the prognosis going forward?
The plastics that we collect on the curbside, where they go. So we get reports, we talk to non-doubt recycling, they report to us actually how much of each type of plastic they sell. It is a little confusing because it does change over time. There's some things that had a market yesterday that don't today, or vice versa. It changes a bit. The ones that are consistent, any kind of container that has a number 1 or a number 2 on it. So a number 1 is like a soda bottle, a number 2 would be like a milk jug or a detergent bottle. Those have a consistent market. They're always getting recycled. If it gets in the blue and it's one of those things, good. Anything else depends on the week, and depends on what kind of a market they can find. The number 5s are kind of the up and coming market. And I think when Ashley was talking about SB 54, one of the things they're hoping is to try to make a statewide definition of what's recyclable, what isn't, and not even allowed to sell the stuff that's not recyclable. So it'll be a lot easier for folks to know what to put in the blue bin. You can't even find the other stuff. That's the goal. But we're and they're making a list of the things that every city has to collect, like the minimum list. And so far, they're kind of draft minimum list. It's got the 1s and the 2s. It's also got the 5s, and then some number 1s that aren't a bottle. Things like the clamshells that you buy of strawberries are kind of fruit in the clear plastic. That's on their list right now too. it's an evolving thing, it's a confusing thing, it's really hard to explain to people. We forever try to use a very simple thing where we said if it's a container and it has a number on it, put it in. We know that's not 100% accurate all the time, we're trying to give the overarching message. Our message is probably gonna change as the state law kicks in and we get more clarity on what they're saying is recyclable, and what is.
So you end up putting a lot in landfill. That
Yeah.
we recycle.
It's not a lot, some. But, yeah, it's hard to figure out what's the best way to say the message. All containers, 1 through 7, only these containers, or, we know we have the experts here, we have trash talkers, you guys are like the A students, but we're talking to a big group of people that some don't care as much as you do. Trying to keep it simple but accurate. It's the difficult metric. Yeah.
Dan has the microphone now.
Thank you. I'm not sure who this goes to, but thank you for the compliment. Trash talk. We are trash talk. To educate residents about what goes into trash enclosures, but we have a new initiative in working with the many clubs at Rossmoor to help them host green events. So they're using the proper disposables, compostable, paper, etc. And because we have your clear streams, we just helped the garden club with an event for 400 people with monitors from Trash Club who were actually at the clear stream site. Now I raise this because part of our initiative with working with clubs, we have large facilities where clubs hold their events. And most of them do not have compostable containers, compost containers in them. And we're working with RWC, kind of the management structure here at Rossmoor, to get containers, but then there's the question, what happens to the compost in the containers of what they call our trust facilities, our big site facilities, facilities like this as well? Does it end up in landfill? When it's in our trash enclosures, the compost truck comes and picks up the compost. When it's in these commercial facilities, does the same contract apply? Does the compost end up in the compost facility, or does it just get put into landfill? We're researching it on our side, but I thought if you know the answer to that, are there 2 separate contracts for Rossmoor, one for the large facilities and one for the resident facilities?
It's all the same. It's all the same. So if it's in the green container, it's all in the same place. We do have, like I said earlier, we have 2 programs. We've got our normal compost program. We've got the special food program, Respay Mud for restaurants. I'm not sure if we have any of those customers here.
We have one restaurant.
They may be on the restaurant route. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But either way, it's going to be a place. I don't know.
Thank you.
So I have a couple questions or comments. I was really glad to see that ecology is going to be handling the compostables. I come from San Francisco. I just moved here about a year ago, and their recycling program is amazing. I'm hoping that maybe Republic will beef up their recycling. They say, you can't take small bottle cans, you can't do this, you can't do that, because the cans are machines. It's just like, are they updating their infrastructure to be able to handle these things in a better way? And the other thing is with ecology, will that mean that some of the compostable ware, like dinner plates and things like that, will be able to go in the compost now? Because they have better higher, they handle the commercial type compostables.
I got that for you. So when we were negotiating with Recology to compost our stuff, we mentioned the same thing. We said, hey, we noticed in San Francisco, you can take a lot of stuff, like all these plastic compostable cups and plastic compostable forks. So if we choose you, can we do the same thing? And they said, no, could you please tell San Francisco to stop? They literally said that to us in the meeting. They really have a hard time composting that stuff. And they're only doing it because the city is making them. And we had to kind of struggle to get them to keep taking the little compostable green bags that we let you guys put in your pails. They said, can we stop those? And said, we really need those. A lot of people won't participate without them. And we'll take it. But I mean, it was kind of twisting their arm. No, and it's not just Recology. Any compost facility in the state, they've all tried to compost that stuff, and it just doesn't break down fast enough, and they're kind of reaching a consensus they don't want it. So It may be San Francisco winds up more like us than the other way around in terms of the capital.
Well, that stuff that ends up in my landfill because it is compostable break down.
Um,
I mean, I
So-
try not to use plastic, but you know. And for the site.
Yeah, so what happens to the stuff that's in the big compost piles that doesn't break down? When they're done with the batch, they screen it, and the little stuff that falls through the screen that's all compost, and the big stuff that didn't break down, sticks and plastics and compostable plastics, most of that actually gets sold to what they call biomass facilities to burn it for fuel. That's what happens to most of that. But in terms of the recyclables, it's not gonna be your college or Republic that decides what's acceptable in our blue container. It's gonna be Mount Diablo Recycling. It's gonna hire them to do that. And the way we did our RFP is we said, hey, if you're bidding to sort our recyclables, you have to at least take the stuff that's on that new state minimum list that SB 54 created. So start with the minimum, you have to take that. And then if you can take more, quote us the price and tell us how much to do more. And they, Mount Diablo that won that contract, they did give us a price to do more, and the price was a lot, and the amount of the more wasn't more. It wasn't much. So and also this all changing because of the state law. So we decided, no, we're going to stick with the state minimum list in our new contract and then see how it shakes out with the state law. The good thing about the state law is it's, as Ashley explained, it's trying to get the manufacturers of these products instead of the ratepayers, the garbage payers, to pay for the cost. So what we're hoping happens, as an example, currently Mount Diablo Recycling is not recycling those number 5 containers. They don't have a market for it, they can't recycle it. But it's on that state list, so we're gonna have to recycle it. So they're gonna have to, let's say they have to buy a robot that's gonna pull those little number 5s off the line. Hopefully we're gonna get the manufacturing group to pay for that robot, so you guys have to pay. So it'll be a long process, but that's what we're gonna hopefully see over time, that type of thing.
I moved down here very recently from Eugene, Oregon. And our county, and I think other counties in the state, had something called a master recycler. And people could volunteer to take this program and you learn. We visited everything, we learned all the kind of stuff that you guys talked about, and then we were free volunteers for the county to go out to everything and do the things like the waste people were doing at the tomato festival. And I mean, I haven't heard of any program like that down here, but I'd love to see one.
We would love to see that too. We've had a RecycleSmart program. We did that for about 3 years, so it was about, depending on the year, 6 to 10 weeks of training, and then they volunteered after. We have the funds, so we want to kind of transition that to a master recycler program. So hopefully, at some point, we just haven't started that process yet, but yeah.
Can I add something? I think maybe when we get our new franchises in place in 2027, and when the SB 54 regulations get finalized, they're still in the rulemaking process. We might have some more clarity about some of the issues with recycling that we've been. And that might be a really good time to do something like that. Another thing I just want to quickly say to SB 54 is about single-use packaging and food serviceware. So it's not everything that we generate, but it's a large portion of what we generate. So it will hopefully standardize things across jurisdictions, and it's going to take a little bit of time. The regulations aren't done yet. They've been slowed down and maybe watered down potentially. But when there's a lot of questions that are saying, like, even for us sometimes. So hopefully in the near future, we can do something just like that. Get the volunteers, get more people educated, get the things to the right bins and not contaminated. And we would love to have hands at these events to help people sort. That's a huge thing. And when someone's there to help them, things get sorted so much better. So I really, really like that idea, and we are gonna do it. Right? I can help out. I'm sorry. And another thing, and this is really related, but Cannon bottle collection in Oregon was super organized, and this is kind of my husband's thing, so I don't know much about it, but
he has not been able to find a good way to return cans and bottles.
Yes, right. That's, yeah, that has been in California, that's been a problem. All the recycling centers have been going away little by little because they can't. Their redemption values have to pay for their cost of them doing business. And also sometimes jurisdictions don't want collection centers. And there was one in Walnut Creek years ago and it closed down. There are some reverse vending machines. There are places in Concord you can take it. Do you guys know what a reverse vending machine is? There's one in Stingray, yeah.
I think we have stick box.
Yeah, you know, it's one by one and it's, yeah, it's really not efficient. Very good. Oh, well, that's working for you. I know.
Fluorescent lights. I had a marvelous experience. I had to wait, but they're now doing it. I'm in Mutual 2, which is a co-op. And we have a full-time building manager called MOD. I think it's now called Rossmoor Building Management. And they came out, took my ballast out, put in LED lights, took the old ones away, and I fixtured that they had to come out and with their drills and stuff. And I had to pay for 4 8-footers, and it cost me $64. And I made the check out to them that I had run around town looking for all this stuff, the long LEDs, and they're just not out there. But if you are in Mutual 1 or 2, you can get a lot of help from the MOD. This is not handyman, this is the actual MOD guys. But they told me next year, and that was last year, and my lights were so bad, I was reading my flashlight in the kitchen, that I was gonna give them a big thumbs up, that they'd come around. But does it, rapid recycle take fluorescence? Seems to me I was forever pulling them out of the garbage bins and calling them. I believe they do.
They take electronics for sure.
Yeah, that's right here. Free. I think we paid for it.
They don't.
Oh,
Stay right here, when it be in Rossmoor, go back. Your front door. Yeah, sure. Have you ever used rapid recycle? It's in here. One last question. Main Street, was this part, does Rossmoor pay? Is this the state, the county? Where's your funding for all 6 of your employees, much less garbage and contracts?
You take that? Yeah, it's out of the garbage fees. It's where the funding comes from. So when the mutuals pay Republic, they submit a portion of it to us to cover our costs.
Is there anybody who hasn't asked a question yet, who has anything before I start? Okay, before I start going around to people. And here you go.
Thank you. I would like to ask, I think, Judith probably, about the education that provide or intend to provide to individual merchants, particularly the smaller merchants, about composting. And I am asking the question, I'm just going to use Pete's Cafe for as an example. They, one of the few that in this district have changed their cups. They will serve us in a ceramic cup if we ask for it to consume there. But for takeout, which is most of their business, there was always a petroleum-based liner, wax in there. So everything, all of the apparently paper cups had to go into the landfill. Now they are claiming that the cup is truly compostable and their cups are BPI certified. However, there's absolutely no way an unsuspecting and uneducated consumer would know when the consumer takes his new BPI certified compostable paper cup, and then you go and you can choose from a bin called
landfill, one called recycling, and one called compostables. And there's just no way, no labeling whatsoever. So they all end up in landfill. And we asked, I think it was at Lafayette Keats. Could you just make a note that they could be recycled, composted? And the response was, no, it's forbidden to deface the the signage, you know, the markings of the little sign. And so.
You could do a gorilla.
Anyway, I would like you to kind of, with that compost quest issue in mind, I'd like you to comment on the education involved. I believe they truly are compostable, right? And secondly, if a cafe like Pete's would mark these BPI certified compostable cups are indeed compostable, put them in the green bin, it would be not only the cafe that is educated, but their customers. Oh, yes, that's a terrible.
David's got.
Excuse me.
Okay. More bad news. We really prefer whether it's VPI or not. If it's a coffee cup and it's shiny, you just put it in the garbage. Sorry. The problem is that at the compost facility, they can't tell the difference. They, you know, unfortunately, the best solution is reusables. And I don't know if you want
Take
to.
one with you.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna suggest. Just bring your own cup. You really don't have to worry about it.
Well, if you sell me one, then you can wash and take back.
Yeah, combine the sabotage we've always done, yeah. But now it says, compost down.
They should have proper signage.
Okay.
Recycle shapes you bring their fingers, so there's. So there's any law that allows you to bring your.
No, I was just gonna mention, they should have proper signage, that's a state law, SB 1383 requires proper signage. It's just a matter of, our agency has always been into outreach and education at the forefront. Do we want to start enforcing on those types of actions? So we have those conversations every day about how to handle lack of signage.
Okay, we're gonna have Carol, and then you have one more question, and then that's probably it for today. Carol?
I just want to say that as an extension of what's not compostable, that's claimed to be compostable applies to a whole lot of other things. So when you're in the grocery store and you see an asterisk that says compostable, and then certain industrial facilities or whatever, it's not compostable in our facility.
Yeah.
So you could spend up, 4 to 6 times more for an item, cups or paper plates or whatever, and it's really not compostable. So, pay attention to what's in our phone book. It's this specifically, and the other things that you can learn from the trash talkers. The other thing I wanted to say was, the trash talkers haven't done enough recruiting tonight, but really, they have teams of people, and Kathleen has organized, especially Mutual too, that organize, if you have the volunteer, your entry, or even a couple of entries if the entries are small. So that's the way that caretakers get educated. It's decentralized. We don't send the caretakers all to one meeting. It doesn't work. You have to go to the caretaker when they're there, when it works out, when you have someone who speaks their language. So it can be done on a one-on-one basis. It takes time and effort, but it's worth it over a period of time. So get in touch with the trash talk people. Trash.talk.rossmoor. So thank you for the ad.
With all the information, but it's just
As much as I hate plastics, I try to avoid plastic as much as I can. There are new technologies that are out for recycling plastic. Do you guys are in research or partner with research with those sorts of companies? I just read about one in Roanoke Park in the San Francisco Chronicle today.
I read that.
Yeah, so I was just wondering.
I mean, I don't know if we partner, but we're certainly tracking and we're trying to be optimistic and hopeful. I wonder about, businesses like that that move from R&D and why they're in the middle of it where they are, but I wish them the best of luck. I mean, if we're gonna, I don't want to get complacent. I really just want to encourage people to stay away from plastics as much as possible. And at the same time, it would be great if there was some kind of positive solution out there. So, yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's it. Whoops. Go back. Thank you all for coming. Great presentation, you guys. We learned a lot. Please join us for our next meeting on Tuesday, October 7th at 7 p.m. here again in the Fairway Room. And the meeting will feature the California Climate Action Corps. So thank you. Great. Wow, really, this is the best attended meeting we've had in a while. This is really a subject that we can hear and totally focused on what these things go.
And that's the hardest thing to try to explain.
I know, I think I know. And
Yeah.
sometimes I just throw up and it's like we do things. That's the reality.
I know you are against stand up for our council.
Inside.
Yeah, and sister races. I know. So we're gonna have to class, the things you're on this flip. And what's going on? I can tell you to create things. She said, like, please, we go. So we see really next. Into your face, otherwise.
Right. Yeah. But so I don't know.
I'm well, it's on our research. Sounds for subject. I need to try to address things for this state. It's really possible. We are not being against this these services are trying to prove to be preferred. It will have this. Why? Well, they could, but now job establishing. I manage this also with cancer, application is fine under this state line. So there's a different. What do I do? What's working? Several opportunities. Well, it is from. It's from that or this experiencing in some different
Okay. I was gonna say magic claims. Oh, yeah, respect that. That's it. Yeah.
So I have tried in there, but what they're not is something that I am.
Oh, match.
Yes.
Environment.
Just like that. But so I. It's something that I'm anxious. It's like. Yes, do what I the diligence on the 6 months. I won't be putting anything for green things because I haven't done our life on, and that's why I think what I heard to suggest is it's a spiritual response hour. Yeah, but it's your station decisions. There's last year around. It's something so it's I don't know exactly. I was just saying. So and it's the one there. It was actual so.
I'm not surprised to hear you say that, because they think that we are linked and stuff. The number of things that are both interested. It's just. The other thing I wanted to show you is that under audio. So the system here is episode. So in order for people speaking here to be heard through the speaker, we have to specify this in terms of the options. Shoot with that. Okay. Shoot with that.
And I actually think that the people in
drivers. In Jammerland, we're seeing the presentation. It just was going next month